Hello and
It's an idiot
welcome.
penis.
Hello and welcome to Drop the Ball. Yeah, we're excited to be back. We're no longer on the radio show, which is on Wildcat 91.9. That's why you're listening to the recorded versions, even though we should have been putting out the recorded versions anyway. Welcome back to Drop the Ball, and I know whose fault it is. It's entirely mine. But welcome back to Drop the Ball. To my left on the screen is the one and only Oliver Hutchison. How are you?
I'm good. So much has happened since last we were together.
Yeah, a lot has happened, actually.
So many changes, except there's only one thing that has not changed, and the Royals are still terrible.
Yep, that's it.
But
Boom.
Woo, yeah.
Exactly. You got the St. Patty Freddie Furman jersey on right now, so you're right.
I do. I got the Shamrock. I got the. Let people see it. Oh,
boom,
ow.
boom, boom, boom. Okay, and then under me.
I paid so much money for this jersey.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I chose this specific jersey. I wanted this just to lie. It's a joke.
Boom. Okay, under me is the. I was gonna say illustrious. It's the one and only. But I said that for Oliver. What am I gonna do now?
Can I be under you?
Jack.
Well, my name is Jackson Wilkes. I'm glad to be back. I miss you guys so very much. That's a lie. I fucking hate all of you guys. Thanks for listening, though.
Okay.
As you know, we are not on the radio anymore, so I am off script. No one can stop me.
Let's be nice.
No one can touch me.
Let's be nice.
I'm invincible. I did miss you guys. We didn't do this podcast for like a month.
Doesn't your mom listen to this? And
yeah, my parents listen to this. So, mom and dad, I'm sorry you had to deal with that. That was pent up aggression for like 6 months of radio. So,
yeah,
6 months. We were on that crew up for like a year and a half.
Yeah, a lot. I'll tone it back a little bit. Now we don't have someone coming into our studio 6 minutes before we finish our show, so that's nice.
Okay, well, usually we would do.
They know who they are.
We would usually, yeah, because they're gonna listen. Usually we do the Arrowhead Chop Talk, but because there's no Arrowhead news except for maybe the fact of Chiefs wide receivers doing something, we're gonna do all Kaufman Corner. And I'm also aware that there is a new show called Kaufman Corner by some people on Twitter. I promise we were first. I have the records, so we're gonna.
They stole it.
We're gonna swing over to the K. They don't use a K, which is cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 Ks, baby. Anyway, we're gonna swing over to the K for the Kaufman Corner. And fellas, this kind of emergency episode is happening solely because of this thing. And it's that Vinnie Pasquantino has been called up by the Kansas City Royals. Finally,
right.
after years of us screaming and in agony to finally get him up to the major leagues. He's finally here, and all we needed to do was trade Carlos Santana, which means Carlos Santana had to go off, and that Carlos Santana did. Carlos Santana batted .254 in the month of June. He had 3 home runs in the month of June. He was quite great. No, it was only 2. It was only 2 home runs in the month of June, but he was great, and so they were able to trade him to Seattle. Because of what, Jackson? Why was he traded to Seattle? Why Carlos Santana was traded to Seattle? Because Ty France, the first baseman that is already there.
Because Ty France was injured in a stupid, dumb play, and I'm mad that it happened.
Nice.
The Oakland A's player is dumb. I refuse to even remember his name because he's a jerk and I hate him. Sorry, I actually kind of like Ty France, so I'm a little mad about it. But yeah, he's probably out for the season. Maybe not for the season, but for a long time. And so they needed a first baseman slash DH.
Yeah, and honestly, we kind of figured out that information early today, especially when Carlos Santana was traded to Seattle. We kind of figured out that, oh no, the Ty France injury might be worse than expected.
Well, and I think from what we know, it's a grade 2 sprain as of right now, which is what Salvador Perez had before he made it worse. Which is supposed to take 4 to 6 weeks to heal. Salvador Perez did not stay out for 4 to 6 weeks, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Ty France is probably out for at least a month. and they're in contention for a wild card spot right now. So
Mhm.
they need someone who can get on base and hit. And Carlos Santana kind of does that. At least the last 15 games, he's got like a 360 base or batting average. So
Yeah, I mean he's been great in the month of June. Oliver, I do have to ask your opinion. I know you've been a longtime non-supporter of Carlos Santana, so I do need to ask your opinion of what do you think of the trade that went down earlier today.
So I was at work when I saw it, and we work in these little pods of 4. Like, they're cubicles, but they're big cubicles with low walls, so you can see everybody, and it's not like a depressing cubicle. Anyways, so we have these 4 pods of 4, and the guys in my pod are all sports guys and big Royals and Chiefs guys. So when I heard that it happened, I said, "Everybody, did you hear the good news? Did you hear the good news?" And then another guy comes up and he says, "Hey, we're going to pop a bottle of champagne."
Exactly, we should have.
Oh, but I'm happy about it because the dude sucked this year until he didn't for like 2 seconds. And then we traded him for, as Matt likes to say, a bucket of balls, which is good. No, I don't like the guy. I mean, okay, I like the guy. I like that he has a good eye. That's about it. He scoops better than Hunter Dozier at first base. Other than that, that's it.
Yeah. And
I mean, I have no ill feelings towards him, but it was time for him to go. He was only on a 2-year deal anyways, so I don't think there's any expectation he was going to be on the next competing team. So
he's got a pretty sweet home run swing, except that's a rare thing now.
Yeah.
That's just too bad. I like the guy, but bye-bye.
It was time for him to go. I know that
it was time for him to go a long time ago. Now the Royals have done half of the things that they should have done.
Mm-hmm.
They're 75% of the way. I thought of 2 big things, 4 big things they needed to do, and they've done 3 of them. They have traded Carlos Santana. They've called up Vinnie Pasquantino. They've called up Edward Olivares. Unfortunately, that was the consequence of Salvador Perez. But the 4th thing is trading Michael A. Taylor. Matt's face changed.
Yeah, we'll get into that a little later. I have that written down, so we'll for sure get into it. I'm sorry.
Did you change your tune already on that one?
No, I haven't. We just need to get into it. We need to get into it later. But to finalize the Carlos Santana deal, I wanted to say my thoughts. You guys are being nice and like all this, and sure we shouldn't be mean to him, but I'm so fucking glad he's gone. It has been such a great time today that we've seen Vinnie Pasquantino. Hey, and Carlos Santana came here and he knew he was washed when he came here last year. He got off to a good start, so I bought his shirt, okay? And sure, am I a little petty about it? Maybe. But he was really bad last year, and I'm not mad at him because I'm petty. I'm mad because the Royals had the opportunity to trade him last July, and they didn't trade him because they're like, oh, we have 2 more years of control of him. It's okay. No. You need to get rid of him. Take the things that you can now. You're not winning. Sorry. Hate to break it to you. You're not winning. And I think we proved that when the Royals were like, let's just call up Bobby Witt Jr. at the beginning of the year and hope and pray and hope that we're going to actually be something. Like, they can't be mad at us or be mad, it's not working. You can't be mad at us when you were putting your faith in one player to turn the entire organization around, which Bobby Witt Jr. has the capability of doing that, but not with the pieces that he has around him. They are so bad. And you just need to be gone way before that. That's kind of the topic of today's episode. When will they be gone is the title probably of today's episode. Thankfully, we got one of those answers today, is that Carlos Santana is going to Seattle. I will say before we move on, the Royals acquired 2 right-handed pitchers in the deal with Carlos Santana, which is Wyatt Mills and William Fleming. Wyatt Mills is a bullpen piece. He was kind of good last year, but he has been really bad with the Mariners this year. So, hey, maybe they can turn him around. The Royals got a lot of control on him, so they'll have him in Kansas City for a while if they want him. And then William Fleming is a arm that was drafted last year in the 11th round, so not a lot of faith there, except for Vinnie Pasquantino is an 11th round pick. But he was drafted in the 11th round out of college last year, though. So he's 23 years old, and he was assigned to Quad Cities, which is high A for the Royals, which 23 high A does not really scream awesome to me. But we will just have to see how that works. Who knows? He's been pretty decent in his outings. He's a starter, the William Fleming guy. Wyatt Mills is definitely a reliever, though. He will probably be a part of the bullpen once Matt Peacock gets his way out of town somehow, or somebody makes their way out of town, either gets released or something. He will be there. He will be a part of the next quote-unquote contending Royals team. Wyatt Mills will. We will have to.
Can I just say that saying contending team annoys the hell out of me, because we've all been talking about the next contending team for about 5 years now.
Okay.
And it's getting on my nerves because we just are getting worse. We're getting worse.
Okay. I understand
I just had to say that.
I
just
get
had
that.
to say that real quick.
Do you think
It's frustrating.
Do you think we're getting worse because of the pieces that are getting called up? We're getting worse, or do you think we're getting worse?
I think we're getting worse because I have to be careful because my parents don't like cussing. We're getting worse because Cal Eldred is still on this fucking team.
Yeah.
And because of some of the coaching decisions and some of the management decisions. No, the pieces in theory are not bad by any means. Well, some of them are not bad. Most of them are not bad by any means. You have good pieces. You have players, and there is some evidence to support this. It's not a lot of evidence, and it's a small sample size. You know how I feel about small sample sizes, but there's some evidence to point at how bad the Royals' major league pitching coaching and development, as much development as you can have in the major leagues, because all the developing, in theory, would have been done already. But there's some evidence on how bad we are having major league pitching success. Jorge Lopez, Jacob Junis, I forget a couple other names. So, like I said, small sample size.
Now Albert Abreu, though. Albert Abreu was throwing some heat today for the Yankees, and the Royals kind of just gave up on him on a season where they really shouldn't have given up. And I'm sorry, Oliver, that I interrupt you.
I mean, that's pretty much my point, is that we just it's confounding. I don't know quite what question to ask or how to describe my disappointment, because you see Jorge Lopez is now a pretty nails closer. He's got a sub-1 ERA as of yesterday, last time I checked. And his whip is sub-1 too. It's lower than his ERA, which it probably should be anyways. But it's 0.77 for goodness sake. And his ERA is like 0.87 or something. Like, he's nails. He's got 13 saves.
Yeah, he's not walking anybody, and he's not giving up any hits. Yeah.
He's not walking anybody.
He actually, that was one of his issues when he was with us, by the way.
Yeah,
I know.
Was his command. Also, I don't know if you guys have noticed this guy, but Jake Diekman is probably one of the better pens out of the one of the better guys out of the Red Sox pen right now. And he was, I don't remember, was he with us around the same time as Lopez, maybe a year or two earlier?
He was probably with us during the time, but Diekman got traded in 2018. So,
but he is doing better now that he's not a Royal as well. So
It
that's
just
just another name more to throw out there.
because there's just so much potential in these guys that we have and have had, but we just can't get it.
but I
I
agree.
think the most
It's very
frustrating. No, I think the most frustrating for me is Junis, because I remember I would watch him pitch sometimes and I'd be like, oh my God, like, where did this come from? I mean, I would be in awe watching his slider work sometimes, but then all of a sudden he'd go out.
Matt and I were at a game where he had a perfect inning through a three innings, five. What, really?
He was through 5.
Yeah,
He's through 5. Yeah, for sure.
he's
Dang.
always shown like signs of being this pitcher, but he just couldn't develop under our coaching staff. And like that was a Ned Yost thing. That was then a Matheny thing. Like, I mean, we could not. I mean, realistically, what that means probably if the manager has changed and the ownership has changed and the GM has changed, but the one thing that hasn't changed was the pitching coach. Wonder what the problem is. Anyways, it's a little frustrating. You guys probably don't need me to outright say that I don't like Cal Eldred. I think he served a purpose for when we needed him, but even then he wasn't that great, and it was probably the talent carrying him. So, especially with the big thing that I think we need right now, being our younger pitchers to start panning out, we need to find someone who can actually work with him. That is part of why I am not team trade Greinke, because I think he's the closest thing to a pitching coach we have in our system right now. So
here's my thing. I don't think they trade Greinke. And we'll get to that later, like I said. But I'm glad, Oliver, you brought this up, because this was something I did want to bring up tonight, is that for some reason the Royals pitching is doing well in the minor leagues, and then it gets to the major league pitching staff and they fall apart. It's almost like something they're saying at the major league level is messing them up, which shouldn't be the case. If you're putting together sub-2 ERAs in AAA, sure, it is a different level of competition, and I'm not saying that it's not. But what I am saying is there shouldn't be that much disconnect as to, like, this pitcher doesn't even look like the same guy we're seeing at the major league level. And, like, the fact that, like, Dayton Moore was coming out and saying shit like, oh, well, Cal Eldred, all the goodness that Cal Eldred's seen in Daniel Lynch, like, think of that before you get him for Brady Singer and Chris Bubich. But then when Singer was pitching well, he was like, yeah, Cal's done a really good job with him. It's like, okay.
Every time he mentions Cal doing a good job, the pitcher falls off the table. Like, every time, without fail.
It's something that it's a worldwide illness, and it is so bad. The Royals, for some reason, just don't want to get progression out of their pitching staff, and I don't know why, because they want to keep with these people so bad, and I'm like, why? We are clearly seeing that when you get rid of people, it's working, and you got rid of the hitting coach, and the minor league hitting coach came up, and it was fine. Hell, I don't care.
More than fine.
Bring up the minor league pitching coach and see what happens. I don't care. I've been saying I've been wanting them to get somebody from the Dodgers organization or Cleveland.
Oh, my God.
Get somebody.
Or Houston.
Get somebody.
The Mets. The Mets have a pretty good development system.
Get somebody.
Toronto even.
Take somebody out of an organization that the pitching staff is plentiful and will continue to forever and ever and ever. Get somebody out of that organization, so it doesn't seem like we're just picking the best thing available. Pick something,
and it's not even.
Yeah,
it's not even impossible. Like, LSU just poached a major league pitching coach from a first place team today or yesterday.
Yeah, take somebody out of the minor league system, offer them out of the minor league system for some other organization, and offer them the head pitching coach. I don't think it's that hard. I would even. It pisses me off. It's probably a waste of breath. We're even talking about this, but this news is a little old, but this kind of goes hand in hand. So I kind of want to say this. Dayton Moore earlier last week was talking on the pregame show last Sunday, and he said, our environment is one of encouraging, one that shows the importance of exercising patience and belief and trust in one another. It's probably costs us wins on the field, but there's no doubt about that. But I think in the long run, we're developing champions off the field, and when you do that, you have a better chance to win a world championship on the field. At the end of the day, I think it's really important that we really continue to use this platform to grow players and help them become men and fathers and husbands and great brothers and great teammates.
Look, there's nothing wrong with that, except for the fact that your job's to win baseball games.
Exactly. And that's what I was going to say. There's nothing wrong with that if you're the coach at Kansas State University. There's nothing wrong with that if you're the coach of the University of Alabama. It's okay if you're a high school coach. Hell, I'd even say AAA. That's a great way to say that.
Well, no, I'd even say that's okay if that's your goal as a bench coach in the major league level. But if you're the general manager for a major league baseball is a business.
But
if you are the head of that business.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense because it's like helping our players on and off helping our players off the field. If you're champions off the field, blah blah blah. I totally get that. That sounds like a high school teacher trying to say that to his players.
Well, so you can remove it from sports even, like in a good business model, okay, I can't speak for any of these companies, but like a Burns and Mac or a Cerner or a whatever, they undoubtedly have really great employee ownership, except that the employees are the owners of some of those. They really have great employee benefits, and they have great work-life balance and employee happiness. Like they are doing that what Dayton Moore said, but they're also fulfilling their job as a business. They're being successful business owners and being business people, and they're being a successful business.
Yeah,
that's not happening here.
exactly.
It's a good thing to have, that goal. Like that's a great, admirable goal. But at the end of the day, you need two things to be a successful business venture or whatever whatever you're in order to be successful. You need good people and you need a good product. Well, there are other things but that's two of the things you need, and we don't have one of those.
The Royals currently don't have a good product. Their product is not good.
That's what I'm saying.
I was even looking. Here's my thing, and I'll be completely honest. Salvi was out of the lineup tonight. Vinnie made the trip at 3 p.m., so he wasn't there yet, and so he wasn't in the lineup for tonight's game, which is currently Monday. You'll probably be seeing this on Tuesday. But I was like, wow, this lineup does not look good without those two pieces in it. Like, past the top three, I'm like, like
not with Melendez slumping and Oliveras not looking great out.
Yeah.
I mean, outside since his return. I mean, he had that first game with two home runs, but since then he's been slumping.
But here's
Melendez is slumping. I mean, Nicky Lopez has been mid at best this season so far.
Yeah, Nicky Lopez hasn't even been playing lately. Like, it's Michael A. Taylor's honestly probably been one of the more brighter spots of the lineup. But still, back to the original point, if like, why are you feeding this bullshit to the fans, saying like, okay, yeah, we're trying to do this because we're trying to be winning off the field. I'm sorry, winning off the field in Major League Baseball does not fucking win you anything. It wins you absolutely nothing. I don't care that if they're not watching porn or they're not do any legal things.
Dayton Moore's war on porn.
Exactly. And then that they're completely fine. They might lose 100 games a season. And in his direct...
But they're not looking at naked ladies, and that's what's important.
Yes. It's probably cost us wins on the field. There's no doubt about that. That's exactly what Dayton Moore said. Yeah.
Look, I'm not a professional general manager, but personally, I'll let them touch themselves to porn if it means we can win the World Series.
Oops.
I'm just saying, look, I know it's out of pocket, and I know it's kind of messed up, but I think I'd be willing to make that trade. I don't know about you guys. I think it's a little bit out of pocket, but I think I'd be okay with it.
You don't bring that into it. You just
Jackson's selling something pretty good. I don't know if they were to exactly come to you, be like, "Hey, we're winning a World Series if you let us touch ourselves." I would be like, "Hey, maybe."
I'm not saying I'd say I'd probably let him do it. I'm not 100% sure, but
I'd look the other way. but I'd
give me plausible deniability, and you got yourself a deal, champ.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, this might come back, or you might be able to hear this in my voice while I'm talking about the Royals. This is one of the first times in my entire life that I have been actively mad at the Royals. Like, actively, okay, what the hell are you doing? And today was a good step in the right direction. That's all I'll say. Is that they traded Carlos Santana. Vinnie Pasquantino is probably going to make his debut tomorrow. I'm feeling good about it. I'm feeling good about it.
I think that the clock has run out for Chris Bubich in the major leagues at the moment. That boy skipped AAA in the first place. And then I know that when he's gone down, he's had some success, but just send him down the rest of the summer until like September or something. I don't know. He needs help. Maybe you send him down, let him work under some decent pitching coaches, fire Cal, which they're not going to do, hire somebody better. Which
not in the middle of the season.
No, I know. They're not going to do any of these things, but this is what I would consider. If I were running this, I'm like, okay, I don't know how MLB The Show works on like the franchise mode, but if I were doing that, this is how I would think I would do that. Yeah, but that's just not, none of that's going to happen. I know, but
I think
spitballing here.
A good compromise would probably be putting him in the pen for a little bit. When Greinke comes back in full force, we'll have more than enough arms with Heasley, Singer, Greinke, Keller. I mean, like, we have a 5-man rotation without Bubich, and he's not proving.
That's what they'll do because they need a spot for Greinke.
Yeah, and I'm fine with Bubich out of the pen. I think that it's the same thing. They pitched Kohler out of the pen. He looks really great today out of the pen, with the exception of 3 walks. But I mean, I think Kowar and Bubic in the pen, at least for the short term, could be a pretty good place for them to get some major league innings in situations where it's not all on them to get the game started off right. Because frankly, for them, I think that's been one of the big issues. I know for Kowar, maybe not as much for Bubic, but still probably for him, is getting out of the first like 2 or 3 innings, like fairly unscathed, like getting through the lineup for the first time. It just seems like they're pressing like really, really hard to try to get through the first time through the lower order. And I think that's an Eldridge thing. I don't think he's giving nearly the right amount of training and the right kind of like attack towards batters. I just don't think the preparation is there, because Lynch also had issues getting to the first time of the order. Greinke, frankly, has had issues with that when he's got to the Royals. Keller has had issues with that. Like this is an organization-wide thing, which makes me think it's probably the pitching staff.
Zach Greinke should not have these issues.
Yeah, Zach Greinke should absolutely never, ever, ever once have issues the first time through the order. Maybe the third or fourth because he doesn't have the velocity anymore, but
not
the
never,
first time.
but not this often.
Here's my thing. I don't think you can expect excellence from Zach Greinke. I think you can.
No, but you can expect better than a 5 ERA.
No, well, okay, compromise. You can expect better than a 5 ERA, but I'm not going to say he should never have issues first time through the order. He's going to have off days, but not most of the time. Not as much as he's having.
I think half of it as well comes from he doesn't get any run support. Are you kidding me?
That doesn't affect his ERA.
I understand it doesn't affect his ERA, but would you love it if you were out there pitching in the 5th and nobody had scored yet?
No, that's why he got wanted traded the first time.
Yeah, he knew what he was coming back to.
I mean, I understand. I understand.
I can't imagine that Cal Eldred is actively telling Greinke how to throw pitches, because like, could you imagine like a possible future Hall of Famer Eldred's telling him how to throw pitches at 37 years old? But I also don't put it past him. And I think when realistically what comes down to what pitches are being called, it's Eldred's preparation, because like that's his job as the pitching coach, is to figure out what kind of pitching needs to be called against certain batters. Like that decision is ultimately up to him and the catcher. And especially with Salvi out, Melendez is probably going to lean towards listening to Eldred a lot more when it comes to calling pitches right now. So, and now that hasn't been the case the whole season, obviously, because Melendez was not the whole season. But Greinke was also injured. So it was probably pitching injured for at least a couple starts. So that probably doesn't help his ERA. But I mean, it's pretty clear that when someone like Greinke comes in and struggles, even after a season like last season when he struggled, it's got to be an organizational thing. Like there's no way that this isn't extremely organizational, and there has to be an internal look at that.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. I think that there has to be something up in the organization and something that is actively hurting them, and it might be the players themselves. Like, who knows? Cal could be telling them all the right things, but they could literally just be going out here and not doing anything. But
maybe it's a connection thing. They're just misinterpreting everything that he's saying. But
who knows? But because I mean, that's the only reason I can think of. Like surely the organization is not that delusional, right? Like surely they aren't like.
You'd hope not.
These players are coming to us saying, "Yo, whatever Cal's telling us to do is wrong." Like, if that's what's happening and they're just still go to bat for Cal, no pun intended, I'm going to be like, why hasn't he been gone 20 years? I was very surprised that Terry Bradshaw got cut before he did. I was like, interesting.
We weren't hitting great, but I think we were middling, or not middle, but when we weren't complete bottom in any like pitching, we were basically bottoming out every single major stat. I think hitting, there was at least certain bright spots, and people were starting to turn around even before Terry Bradshaw got fired. Now, I think Zumwalt, the new coach, I think that he probably had an effect on people's kind of beginning of season slumps ending quicker and figuring stuff out quicker. Yes. Yeah. But like a lot of them, like Whit was already figuring it out, or at least slowly by the time that Bradshaw got fired. Salvi was kind of figuring it out by the time Bradshaw got fired. Bobby was starting to figure out by the time Bradshaw got fired, and Michael A. Taylor and Benintendi were already hitting well. So, I mean, like, it's not like we didn't have those bright spots with the old hitting coach.
Yeah.
So I was very surprised when we made that kind of decision there. And Eldred's job was just not even on the table. Like there wasn't any discussion about it anywhere, except for people who were mad about it.
Yeah, I think that the big issue here is, I think the big issue here is, number one, pitching. And, we just have to somehow get our way out of there. And second is the offense. And I think that once we figure that out, that's the easiest thing, of course, then we should be fine. And I really like some of the offense that's coming up. We'll talk about that in a second once we come back. But yeah, we will be right back with Trade 'em or not, or hot stove. I don't know what we should call this. We'll be back with the hot stove, or the trade
Coffin
market.
Corner Part 2.
Kaufman Corner plus the trade market. Anyway, we will be back with that right after this. Before we get into the next section, we would like to thank our sponsors, the List Show Sell KC Group with Keller Williams Key Partners. If you're looking to buy or sell a home, they serve clients with superior customer service and integrity, while going the extra mile to make your transaction the best it can be. Find them on Facebook by searching List Show Sell KC. Slide into home with the List Show Sell KC Group. It's what they do. Be sure to find us on all our social media accounts.
You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Drop the Ball PC.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and like the Facebook page, both at Drop the Ball Podcast. And we are back. And we are going to continue to be on the hot stove Trade Central. I need to come up with a better name for this. So.
TradeUp.com.
Yeah. So what's going to happen is that I'm going to discuss players that I think
Jackson's in a white shirt. It's perfect.
we need to trade. What? What?
I
Know
said,
them.
yeah.
Matt's on the couch too.
Okay, that's fine. So I'm just gonna say something, and I'm gonna say a name, and you guys are gonna tell me whether he needs to be traded or not, and you can tell your.
Rate them all. Every single one of them.
Okay, well, I'm gonna start naming them. So Whit Merrifield. Should Whit Merrifield be
Yes.
traded?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to. And now I will talk about this. Whit Merrifield has needed to be traded for about 2.5 years now. So
5 years. Kind of kidding.
Okay.
Maybe probably more like 3 or 4.
Well, in 2018, 2019, they probably could have gotten something pretty insane for him back in return, but they didn't choose to do that. But now they're going to probably get a little bit of nothing back. Back in return for him.
He's still really fast, and
He can play like 5 positions.
they'll get something that's a little bit better than crap.
Okay.
They'll get a top 15 prospect out of him, I think. He go to the right organization.
Hopefully. I mean, he does have
Like,
another
especially
year
if you throw
control.
especially if you throw a bullpen guy in there with him, which I
Yeah.
think they would.
Here's my thing. I think you throw Whit Merrifield and Scott Barlow in the same trade. That's my opinion. And I think that you get a lot back in return if you do that. I seriously think that Scott Barlow's trade market, he has 2 years left of arbitration after this year. So will the Royals trade him? Probably not. But
So here's my thing with Scott Barlow, and I guess we could probably get around to when he comes to if you were going to say trade or not.
stay specifically with Merrifield, if you don't mind.
Okay, so Whit Merrifield, I understand why in like 2018, 2019 he wasn't traded, because for what he was and for how much club control he had left, it would have required a haul, especially in 19. I mean, there's he's in that stretch. He led from then to now. He's led the league in hits twice. He's led the league in stolen bases 2 or 3, or the American League in stolen bases 2 or 3 times. He has been consistently above average at defense at 3 or 4 different positions. And he hasn't missed a single game throughout that entire stretch as well. So like he's consistent. He's always available, and he can get on base via the hit. And a lot of teams would value that very highly, especially in 18-19. And I think that it was going to be tough to get a fair trade for him. And looking back on it, I would have taken a little bit less than what he probably deserved.
Yeah.
But there's no way that you could have guessed that he was going to have as rough a start to the season that he was having now. Because frankly, he's not even there anymore. Like he's figured it out. Like the only reason his batting average is low now is because he's back to playing in normal, and his normal isn't good enough to get him out of a 200 batting average that quickly. He might get back there, but he's only gonna be hitting like 255, maybe 260 at best by the trade deadline, and that's a pretty
if he's batting 250,
generous.
If he's batting,
that's a pretty generous.
If he's batting,
yes,
if he's batting 250 at the deadline, you better be getting a lot back in return for him. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So I think he's a trade.
I don't think he's quite batting.
He's
batting 230, 20 points a month. Yeah.
Yeah, So he's a trade for sure. He was a great guy on the team when we needed him. He was at least someone that kept Kansas City on the map when we were putting together losing seasons. Yeah. I love the hell out of him, but realistically, I mean, Oliver's right. It was time to get rid of him, like possibly up to 4 years ago. It was definitely time to get rid of him 2 years ago. Yeah. I think now if we can get a decent player out of him and maybe like a Barlow type, especially because Barlow is whatever. We'll talk about that, but yeah, I think it's time to trade. Love the guy. Wish him the best. Hope he gets a ring. Whatever.
Yeah, Oliver, what do you think about Whit?
I like the guy a lot, and he's been our most productive player for a long time, excluding Salvador Perez last year and Jorge Soler in 2019. Yeah, but it's just he's like the perfect Royals hitter. He's like the perfect player for our style of play, but we are bad and he is good, and he could help us get a lot better if he left our team. Let me rephrase that. If we got rid of him.
Yeah. I mean,
it's just business.
I agree with you.
It's business.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Guy.
I agree with you. I really do like him. He has been one of the best players, if not the best player, like you guys have said, on the team. But I do think it's time, and unfortunately, that's just the way that it is. I think that
but the dummies are not going to freaking trade him anyways. So
yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we will just have to see. I think with Michael Massey's production in AAA and how he's able to been able to pick that up a lot quicker, I think that it'll give them more. They'll be more inclined to move him, if that makes more sense. I feel like they'll be more inclined to move him because they have a better Whit Merrifield at AAA. That is, if he is as advertised, Michael Massey could be one of the best players in all baseball. Forget that. Jackson is going crazy. Anyway, if you want to open the topic on that real quick, Jackson, keep it short, but Michael Massey.
Oh yeah, Massey was recently called up to AAA. He's been absolutely crushing the hell out of the ball while he's been there. Contact as well as power.
Yeah, and those two things, and he can play really good second base, and you're like, oh, he can't be one of the best players in all baseball, though.
No. He can't be one of the best players in all baseball, but he could absolutely be one of the best second basemen in all baseball. And as a second baseman, I will tell you that second base is always the least valuable infield position on the infield. And that's the only reason that he can't be one of the best. And that's because shortstops and third basemen can all play second base. Depending on the person, of course. But do I think he can be one of the best in baseball? No. Do I think he can be one of the best second basemen in baseball? Possibly, if he's as advertised. But he's small sample size in AAA. I think he might be like a September call-up, especially if Whit gets traded, because he could have a slightly worse glove than Nicky, which is a very high ceiling, and the same bat as Whit, which would be pretty insane. So,
everything that we've seen at AAA from Michael Massey appears that he will be Whit. He is 15
small sample size.
Yeah, 15 bombs.
Yes.
We need to emphasize that 15 bombs a season is approximate, probably batting 275-ish. I think he's a really good one or two hitter moving forward.
I'll take that because with his defense, he could probably come away with a career of 2 or 3 Gold Gloves too. So
yeah. Okay. Moving on to the next one. I will just start talking about this. You guys can talk about it when I get around to your turn because I know your guys' opinion on this. Andrew Benintendi should be traded. If he's not traded, I'm going to be like, what the actual hell is this organization doing? I think you could easily get a top 7 player in someone's system for Andrew Benintendi easily, especially if he's going to continue to bat 300. He had 2 hits tonight. I seriously think that that Andrew Benintendi could get you the best haul out of this entire draft. And depending on how the draft goes, I don't know where the Royals are going or where they're looking to go, whether that be infield, pitching. It's usually going to be pitching, but I don't know that Jacob Berry, is that his name, from LSU? That kid looks good, along with Jace Young. Jace Young looks really good, along with Cam Collier. Cam Collier looks good. This is some players in the draft. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but
also Holiday's kid.
Yeah, Jackson, he'll be gone by the time we pick, but
yeah,
we'll see. Depending on what they're looking for in the draft, I think that's how they'll decide on Benintendi, because on who they'll trade for Benintendi, because Benintendi will be traded. If he's not traded, I don't know what is wrong with the organization. Something's up.
This is a bit of draft talk, just really quick. If they could manage to get Jace Young out of Texas Tech, he's a shortstop now. I think he's played some second, but he could project to be a very plus defense left fielder that can hit 25 home runs in the league and hit like 275. So I think he's a guy that could absolutely make that switch to outfield and be a very good defender, especially in a position like left. But with Benny, the only reason I wouldn't be mad if we traded him is if Dayton Moore and JJ Piccolo somehow managed to pull a 4-year contract out of their ass. And I don't think that's going to happen because that would have happened already.
That's
trade him, get use out of him. I would love to see him in a Royals uniform for the rest of his career. But at this point, it's clear that that's not their intentions.
Yes, I 100% agree. I would let him be in a Royals uniform the rest of his career if he wanted, but I don't think he does. And I think he's going to get $80+ million on the market too. I think he's going to get some serious cash on the market. So that's why I think that they should trade him. Oliver, that's up to you.
Yeah, I mean, Jackson took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say you have 2 options. You have 3 options, but you have 2 options. You trade him or you extend him past 3 years, 4-year minimum extension. But we all know that the third option of just doing nothing is what we are wont to do. I hope that doesn't happen, but it could, and it probably will. But yeah, you have those 2 options. Of course, I'm with you guys. I'd prefer to see him extended, even though I think he could have more personal statistics success in a different ballpark. Just because he would have like more home run numbers and probably more RBIs because of the home runs. But he does a good job of spraying the ball over and then getting the hits and, having the good average and getting on base and moving runners. And he has like a bunch of like deep flyouts. But I think that he would find statistical success, specifically talking about his power, without like trying to become a power hitter. Like if he played for, God forbid, the Yankees or something, I think, and they're trying to get
like 25 homers, 30 homers a year if you played in Yankee Stadium.
I don't know about 30, but you could get a lot.
Right season?
And they're looking at him. They've been looking at him for a while. I wouldn't count that out. If I were to guess a team, I don't know if I'd say the Yankees because they're stacked and they're.
Oh, I was just gonna say the Yankees they're stacked, like you said. They're just kind of full in the outfield, and they're kind of paying some money to people in the outfield, so they're going to play them, and because they're good enough, they can pass like Aaron Hicks to play right field for them. Although they have been playing like Aaron Judge in center, so it's been making me think like, oh, are they going to try and get a corner outfielder?
Well, the thing is, Aaron Judge is not a center fielder because there's some times where Aaron Judge is playing center and Giancarlo Stanton is playing a corner outfield, and that, in my opinion, is a dog shit outfield defensively.
Stanton's won a Gold Glove.
Aaron Judge is a slightly above average center fielder. Giancarlo Stanton at this point in his career is a below average corner outfielder,
Fine.
unless it's in left field.
I'll give that
But
to you.
he's not playing left field. Aaron Hicks is playing left field, and Giancarlo Stanton is playing right. If the Yankees wanted to, they could get rid of having to ever play Joey Gallo again, which for them is a plus because he sucks. He's overrated. I've said it for years. They could make Aaron Hicks a fourth outfielder, which would be insane, absolutely insane. They could make sure that Giancarlo Stanton only ever has to play a corner outfield if it's a necessity. If they wanted to get a guy like Michael A. Taylor who could give them Gold Glove, and I hate saying this because it would make the Yankees just an absolute super team. If they ended up with Michael A. Taylor and he kept hitting the way he's hitting and kept playing Gold Glove defense,
Good luck.
Their team would be. It's already just insane. They don't even need him. That's the thing. They don't need him. They won't trade for him because they don't need him. But if they really wanted to just be a super team for next year too, because Michael A. Taylor, fun fact, has another year on his contract. Whatever. We'll get to Michael A. Taylor. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the Yankees outfield. I think that Aaron Judge is decent at center field, but it exposes a lot of other holes in their outfield.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I wanted to say that because I thought about that the other day.
No, I agree with you. Whit and Benny are probably going to leave. We've discussed this. Santana's probably going to – Santana's gone.
Santana's gone.
Been gone. Been gone for a while. Hours now. And then Pachukupu, I was going to – there was another position player. Who was it? Maybe it's because Santana's traded already that I'm forgetting.
Was it an outfielder?
I mean, Michael A. Taylor, but
Dozier, maybe?
No, I wasn't going to talk about him. But let's talk about MAT because you brought him up. Michael A. Taylor, to answer your question from earlier, Oliver, no, my opinion has not changed. I think he needs to leave immediately. But I keep thinking, and I'm like, oh, he keeps batting like 280, and the Royals are going to overvalue him, and then they're not going to trade him. That's what I think will happen. I think the Royals will overvalue Michael A. Taylor, and I think that they will be like, he's got another year on his contract, he plays the best defense ever, and he's batting over 280. Are you kidding me? Okay. And so I think they're going to keep him. I don't want them to. I think they could get a lot out of him if they traded him now. And then as for the bullpen goes, we talked about Scott Barlow a little bit. I think Jose Cuas is an option because he's just so old. I think they'd be like, okay, cool, he's been pretty good. Let's trade him away, and let's see what happens. What, Jackson? You have your hand up for a reason.
We started moving to bullpen, and I have an opinion about Michael A. Taylor, and I'm not going to lie, it's a little fucked up, but here's the deal. Michael A. Taylor, and I've said this to you, Matt. I don't know about you, Oliver, but I've said this to you, Matt. The Royals lineup this season, at least, with Michael A. Taylor, even before he started hitting 280, like when he was hitting like 250, looks a lot more elongated, if that makes sense. I think the type of hitter that he is, even when he projects out to what his averages are going to be, which is like maybe a 260 at best, it just fits into what we have in the system right now. So when I say I think we should trade Michael A. Taylor, I will tell you that the absolute only reason I think we should is because he's 30 years old. Because the fact of the matter is that even if he stayed at what he probably should be, which is like a 250 to 260 hitter, what his defense brings and what the type of hitter that he brings, it's something that the Royals could use, especially if we could manage to turn Olivares into a decent corner outfielder, because he's going to be a 30 home run guy if he pans out.
Oh.
It's just a matter of if his defense can be worth it and he can stay healthy.
Not lose balls in the outfield. God.
Not lose balls in the outfield. Not to mention when you have a shortstop that's also capable of 30 home runs, you can afford to have another player up the middle not hit 30 home runs. That's one thing that I want to preach and stress, and I'm going to go on a soapbox real quick, super fast. I'm tired of people going, he doesn't hit like a center fielder. He doesn't hit like a third baseman. I don't care. There's a whole book and a whole movie about replacing a player through multiple other players, right? If I have a shortstop that's the best damn hitting shortstop in the entire league, I don't care if my third baseman hits 3 home runs this season because my shortstop's hitting like a third baseman. If I have a catcher who is one of the best offensive catchers since the last great offensive catcher, Johnny fucking Bench, sorry for my French, I don't need a left fielder that's going to hit 25 home runs because I have a catcher that can do it. Are you guys seeing my point? Because frankly, I'm tired of having to explain this to people because there's no reason to he doesn't hit like that position. I don't care. Vinnie Pasquantino could come up and hit 5 home runs a season. He's not going to, but he could come up and hit 5 home runs a season and bat 270. And I'm totally fine with that because MJ Melendez and Salvador Perez can both be catchers and both be DHs. And one of them can play friggin' outfield and hit 25 homers and bat for 270 in a good season. You know, like I'm tired of this whole like, we have to fit these people into their box because we have the guys that can hit. We have a shortstop that could be the best of his generation. We have a catcher that could be the best of his generation. We have a catcher that already is the best of his generation. You know, we have a guy who can play left field in Olivares that won't play great defense, but could be one of the best hitting left fielders in the game. And that's a hitter's position. So I think that if it came down to it, I wouldn't be upset if we didn't trade Michael A. Taylor because we have another season of control. We can trade him again next year if we really need to. Mm-hmm. And even if he drops back to like the 250, 260, that makes more sense for him. With his defense, he's still extremely valuable and we could get a top 15 guy from him. The only issue with him is his age. That's the only issue I have with him. I think we should trade him still. If we can trade him this season, do it. Absolutely. Because his value is never going to be higher than it is right now for the rest of his career.
I agree with you.
But I'm not going to be like, out of my mind pissed off at Dayton Moore and JJ Piccolo if they can't get him out of center field. I will be totally okay and happy watching him play center field for us this season.
Oliver, I'm going to move it on to you. We were talking about Michael A. Taylor earlier, just you and I, so move on.
Jackson pretty much said everything I wanted to say.
Damn, Jackson.
Sorry.
Fine with me. I'm trying to get this thing going. I got places to be. He also reminds me of a more understated, less popular, but like the same player as Lorenzo Cain. He's like the same player, just a little bit like he bats 280 like this season, like 275, 280, Gold Glove defense, pretty fast, the nicest guy. It's like the same player.
He did retire.
Matt doesn't agree. But...
I think that I think Lorenzo Cain had way more power than Michael A. Taylor does. I do think that Michael A. Taylor
this season.
Okay. This season they're probably comparable. Yeah. One of Logan's
at about 20 batting average points and maybe 6 or 7 more home runs, but yeah.
But that's prime Locaine. Prime Locaine is batting over 300. Like not.
But also prime Locaine, even prime Locaine actually might have been not as good at defense. I know that's blasphemous, but the fact of the matter is that Lorenzo Cain had to dive for a lot of balls, and that was like one of his big things. Michael A. Taylor is so fast and so good at reading fly balls, he doesn't really have to dive that much.
I got you.
Like he is solid defensively.
Yeah.
But yeah. I've preached that to the choir.
So
I'll shut up about him.
So then I'll leave it open. This will be the last thing we talk about, which is the bullpen. We talked about Scott Barlow just a tiny bit about how we think that he might be an option. I seriously think that Jose Cuas is an option. I have a very hard time believing that there's not a player on this team outside of the very young players that are untouchable. Like, I believe that everybody in this team could be traded except for, like, Bobby Wood Jr., MJ Melendez, Vinnie Pasquantino. Like Nick Pratto, Brady Singer. That's just about it. I think Brad Keller could be traded. I think that we would surprise the world if we traded Brad Keller, but I think it's possible.
I think it's more likely that someone sees value in Bubic, personally, in my opinion. A guy like, frankly, I look at him and there is like so much untapped potential, and it's frustrating, especially when he can't figure it out. But I think some team, some guru team like the Astros or the Mets or the Dodgers will see a guy like that, and if they can get him in a package deal as almost a throwaway or a deal sweetener, they will take it. He won't be the headline of the trade, right. But
I would not be surprised. Yeah, we trade with the Dodgers or or some big market, like you said, and they're just like, yeah, throw in Chris Bubic, and let's say it's another year of him doing nothing, and then we're like, oh shit, yeah, take him off the books, like get him out of here.
If I'm a GM with a decent pitching coach and someone just says, well, how about Bubic? I'm like biting my tongue, sitting on my hands, like trying to make sure they can't see that I'm
interested,
over the moon that they're trying to throw him away. Just throw him in just cause.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Like Bubic and Benintendi, I would absolutely give a top 5 prospect for, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, if you paired Benintendi with an arm of any kind, I think you get a really good prospect out of him. I mean, I think you look at the. This will be real quick. I think if we're looking specifically for players, I think that for Michael A. Taylor at least, you're looking Yankees. You're looking.
Do we each want to maybe give one Milwaukee, like one trade team target or something like that?
Benintendi, you're also looking for Milwaukee. I think Scott Barlow is 100% just like he will be on a contender if he goes somewhere. Like he won't be like a throw in for somebody. Like he will be going. Might be a headliner of a trade. Who even knows? So I mean that's my biggest thing. I'll open the floor to both of you guys just to kind of answer what you want, what you want, and then we'll head into drop the ball and be done.
I mean, I think the most likely starter that gets traded is Bubic, just because he's a left-handed pitcher. I don't think that they would trade Daniel Lynch. I think he's one of those untouchables. But Chris Bubic is a frustrating, like, high potential guy, and it's just unfortunate that he's really bad because he's really not. But he just falls apart almost every start. He's had like 2 good ones and 2 in a row. The last one and the one before against a good team, or a really bad team, and then a okay team. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets traded, but he's not going to get traded. Let's be honest here. I think none of the people that we actually talk about are going to get traded.
Really? What a bold take. That's a bold take.
Maybe one.
I think.
Okay.
I'm a little bit different. I think it's a bit excessive to think that the Royals are probably going to trade more than 2 players. In my opinion.
What I'm saying. They're just.
But I think we will see at least. I think we'll probably see 2 big names. Benintendi's got to be out the door. There's no shot that they don't trade him.
Yeah. No, he has to be.
And I really think I'd be a little surprised if we didn't trade Whit Merrifield as well. I've told this to Matt. Matt and I have talked about this a lot. The Rays, I think, are a team to look at if we are looking to trade, especially a guy like Merrifield, because the Rays have a hole at second. They could use some relievers. The only issue with the Rays is that if they're willing to give someone up, I don't want them because the Rays are super smart with their prospects.
Yeah. The Braves.
I think the Braves and the Padres could also be. Sorry, Matt, I didn't mean to steal that from you.
Okay.
The Braves and the Padres, I think, could be targets too.
Well, I was just saying, I think Braves are the big thing for Whit Merrifield because Ozzy Albies is out for the entire year for the Braves.
Oh, I didn't know that. He absolutely could be headed to the Braves.
If they're trying to reclaim that crown in any way, I think that they would. I think Whit Merrifield and Scott Barlow to Atlanta for something would be.
And both those guys have at least 1 more year on a contract.
And
so
I think I don't think it's dumb to look at. I think Seattle's probably done unless they want a reliever from us. But we've done a lot of deals in the past with Jerry Dipoto with Seattle, with the guy from San Diego. We've done a lot of deals with San Diego. We've done a lot of deals with Atlanta. So like we're familiar with these people. So I can see Atlanta happening for Whit Merrifield definitely. So we'll just definitely have to see. But let's move on into the final segment. You know, it's the name of the show. It's the reason why you're here. It's called Drop the Ball. Oliver, can I pass it off to you first?
Well, I don't have one.
We can pass it off to Jackson then, because I know we're trying to wrap it up. I know your Drop the Ball is
I do have one.
Up this late.
I do have one.
Okay.
It's fucking Cal Eldred.
Okay.
Again.
We'll take it.
I don't even need to say anything else.
We'll take it.
Yeah, it can just be Cal Eldred.
We'll take it. I'll do mine next because you actually have one planned, Jackson.
Okay.
So there you go.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say Mike Matheny. we didn't really talk about it, but the whole thing with mishandling injuries and mishandling people on your squad. Apparently, Mike Matheny pushed for Salvador Perez to be played sooner than he was ready to be, and that was the reason why he was out of town in St. Louis. So, I'm sorry. This is the first time that I've really called out Mike Matheny. I don't really have a problem with him. Somebody asked me on the radio show at Kansas State at a Wildcat 91.9. Somebody asked me a couple days ago for their show. They asked me, what do I think of Mike Matheny? And I said, I don't think he's been given an opportunity with these players yet. And so, which I think is the case. I think once he gets a winning-ish type ball club is when he will get fired. Is if he's bad with that team, then he'll get fired. I don't think
as soon as we're good, he's gone.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just have to we'll see. But I think that this is something that can get him fired. And it's something that is huge, especially a star player. Like, let's be honest, Salvador Perez and Bobby Witt Jr. and Whit Merrifield are probably the only people filling the seats for season tickets this year. And 2 of them are probably going to be gone. Like, you can't be like, oh, it's 2 weeks. You come back early, 2 weeks. You can't do that. You have to be ready for everything. And if it means that Salvador Perez is out for 2 more weeks instead of 8 more, then do that. Yeah, I'm pissed off about it because your mismanagement of players led you to get run out of St. Louis, like severely run out of St. Louis. And so if he's going to do that here and he's going to mishandle the prospects too, this entire farm system that is ranked top 5 in all of the league, yeah, not good. You can't be doing that. Not good. Not good. Anyway, Jackson, you're rounding us out.
So back to pitching, but in the Pirates organization. I came across a graphic. I think it probably was shown on some broadcast, probably a Pirates broadcast. Could have been a Yankees or a Rays probably. But here's just a list of 7 pitchers that the Pirates have traded away since 2015. Not all of the pitchers that they probably traded away, but 7. Charlie Morton in 2015. Garrett Cole in 2018. Tyler Gosnow in 2018. Shane Baz in 2018. Joe Musgrove in 2021. James Talon in 2021. And Clay Holmes in 2021. Tyon. That's 7 guys with a combined ERA since their trades of 3.15 and a combined record of 193 and 80. How on earth do the Pirates come up with this many consistent all-star pitchers and not figure them out? Garrett Cole was ass with the Pirates. He was bad with the Pirates.
No, he wasn't.
Until he got traded to the Astros.
No, he wasn't.
Compared to what he's been?
He's been elite with them now, but he was not bad with the Pirates. To say that is...
He was below league average, I'm pretty sure.
No. He was an all-star almost every year he was there.
Anyways, I don't know what the Pirates are doing with their pitching staff, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no. It's bad.
That is 7 guys. Clay Holmes and James Taillon?
Jameson Taillon, yeah.
Yeah. Are both 2 of the 3 big reasons that the Yankees have a good pitching staff this year. Joe Musgrove is probably one of the few guys that's actually been pitching decently for the Padres. Glasnow's injured, but Shane Baz and Garrett Cole is the 3rd out of 3 guys that's making the Yankees. Well, don't count on Nestor. I love Nestor Cortez, but Garrett Cole is one of the big reasons. And Charlie Morton single-handedly got the Braves through the playoffs last year almost. Every single time he started, he was nails. So, yeah, man, Pirates, you got to figure that out. You cannot keep trading away guys like that. That is bad. I didn't know. I knew they had traded away big names recently and consistently, but that's awful.
You're just counting the pitchers too. They have hitters that they traded away. They traded away Austin Meadows. They traded away a lot.
That's only starting pitchers too. That's like big name starting pitchers. I honestly, based on that, I wouldn't be surprised if they had like a couple of like reliever guys that probably had like max 3.3 ERAs or something like that. Like guys that a lot of teams would be happy to have.
Well, definitely. And I mean, if you look into that more, there are definitely more players. And that also is a reason I think why the Royals are so scared of being transactional. If you're transactional, you also run the risk of that. You run the risk of the players that you're trading away. Sure, it's for something you're getting now, but you run the risk of trading away these young players and them turning into stars. And that's what happened to the Pirates with just about every single one of these guys. But we need to wrap it up. Good one, Jackson. I appreciate it. But we need to wrap it up. We will be done this week. I honestly can't tell you when we're going to get another episode, but it'll be soonish.
Sometime in the next week, maybe.
Yeah, it'll be soonish. But yes, thank you guys, and until next time, you know what it is. Don't drop the ball.